The 1920s roared, a decade of jazz, flappers, and a forbidden fizz, in Chicago's shadowy alleys and glittering ballrooms. One name echoed louder than any trumpet or gunshot: Al Capone. Born in Brooklyn, New York, Alphonse Gabriel Capone was not always the notorious figure history remembers. He began his life far from the world of crime, a young boy with immigrant parents. His family, seeking a better life, had come from Italy, full of hope for the American dream. Young Al attended school, but the allure of the streets proved stronger than any classroom. He was a strong-willed youth, quick with his fists and even quicker with his wit. These traits, while sometimes troublesome, also hinted at a natural leadership that would later define him. Early on, Al fell in with small-time gangs in Brooklyn. It was here, during a bar brawl, that he received the infamous scars on his face, earning him the nickname Scarface, a moniker he detested. Under the mentorship of figures like Johnny Torrio, Al learned the intricacies of the criminal underworld. He quickly proved himself to be more than just a street thug. He was a strategist. When Torrio moved to Chicago, he brought Capone with him, sensing the young man's potential. Chicago, a booming metropolis, was ripe for the taking, especially with the onset of Prohibition. Prohibition, the nationwide ban on alcohol, created an unprecedented opportunity for criminals. Suddenly, a vast, thirsty public was willing to pay handsomely for illegal liquor. Capone, with his keen business sense and ruthless ambition, saw this not as a moral crisis, but as a market. He began to build an empire, one speakeasy and distillery at a time. He quickly rose through the ranks, eventually taking control of Torrio's operations. Chicago became his kingdom, and he ruled it with an iron fist, yet also with a surprising charm. Capone understood public relations. He opened soup kitchens, donated to charities, and presented himself as a benefactor to the poor, earning him a complex reputation. But beneath the veneer of generosity lay a brutal core. Rival gangs challenged his dominance, leading to violent clashes that stained Chicago's streets crimson. The most infamous of these was the St. Valentine's Day massacre in 1929, a brutal execution of 7 rival gang members that shocked the nation and solidified Capone's fearsome reputation. Law enforcement struggled to contain him. Capone was intelligent, elusive, and had deep connections within the city's corrupt political and police systems. He operated with seeming impunity, his empire growing larger and more brazen. From illegal gambling dens to prostitution rings, his tentacles reached into every illicit corner of Chicago. Despite his notoriety, Capone carefully avoided direct involvement in the most heinous crimes, ensuring he always had an alibi or a scapegoat. His wealth became legendary, estimated to be in the tens of millions. He lived lavishly, driving expensive cars, and frequenting the finest establishments, always surrounded by bodyguards. Yet, the pressure from federal authorities began to mount. Eliot Ness and his untouchables tirelessly worked to dismantle Capone's operations, focusing on the illegal alcohol trade. But it wasn't the violence or the liquor that would ultimately bring down Al Capone. It was something far less glamorous: taxes. The federal government, led by the Treasury Department, began to build a case against him for income tax evasion. This was a charge he could not easily evade. In 1931, after years of seemingly being untouchable, Al Capone was indicted on 22 counts of income tax evasion and violation of the Volstead Act. The trial was a sensation, capturing headlines across the country. Capone, ever the showman, maintained his composure, but the evidence against him was undeniable. On October 17, 1931, Al Capone was convicted on 5 counts and sentenced to 11 years in federal prison. His time in prison began in Atlanta, but he was later transferred to the infamous Alcatraz, a maximum security island penitentiary known for its harsh conditions. The once powerful Scarface found himself stripped of his empire, his influence, and his freedom. The isolation and the toll of years of excess began to wear on him. His health deteriorated, particularly due to neurosyphilis, which had gone untreated for years. His mind began to fade, a stark contrast to his once sharp intellect. After serving 7 years, 6 months, and 15 days, Al Capone was released from Alcatraz on parole, a shadow of his former self. He retired to his mansion in Florida, a sickly and confused man. The king of Chicago's underworld was now a frail figure, unable to reclaim his past glory. Al Capone died on January 25, 1947, at the age of 48, due to complications from syphilis. His death marked the end of an era, a final chapter for one of America's most infamous gangsters. His legacy remains complex: a ruthless criminal, a shrewd businessman, and a symbol of the wild, lawless spirit of the Prohibition era. Capone's story serves as a cautionary tale, a vivid reminder of the intoxicating power of corruption, and the ultimate, inescapable reach of the law. Even in his downfall, Al Capone's name continues to resonate. A permanent fixture in the annals of American history, forever tied to the Roaring Twenties and the dark side of the American dream.